guys, it's Anissa. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are doing one of my favorite videos to film for you guys. I did a full face of testing new makeup, full face of first impressions. Let me say, I am very, very impressed with majority of the products that I used. This is what the skin is looking like. I don't have anywhere to go, but I feel like I need to go somewhere just so somebody can see what I look like. We have a lot of Colourpop. We have some Nars, Milk Makeup, KVD Vegan Beauty, NYX, Makeup Revolution, Essence. We've got it all. And let me just tell you, it's good. If you want to know how I created this look, what products I am super excited to love on a little bit more, make sure to keep on watching. But before we go any further, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I post on this channel every 4 days, so you never have to miss me for too long. Let's just go ahead and get into it. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the brows. And I'm pretty sure that I've tried this product before a long time ago, but I'm not super sure. I bought 2 of them on accident. NYX Micro Brow Pencil, and I have this in the color Espresso. I'm a big fan of the brow pomade from NYX. It's called the NYX Tame and Frame Brow Pomade, and it's actually more of like a moussey texture. I always like to use my brow pencil to outline, and then I'll go in with a pomade in a second and fill them in. Nice pigmentation, and it's a nice color. First impression, I actually really like that. I think I am getting a pimple right in here because it's kind of sore. But anyways, first impression, it has a nice pigmentation and it seems to be blending out very well. It's creamy enough to blend it out, but also not so creamy that when you go to blend the product out and get rid of those harsh lines, the product doesn't just go away. In the brow category, the Drugstore is something that definitely has a lot of contenders with more high-end products. Like really the only high-end brow product that I think is worth the money is the Benefit Precisely My Brow. Sorry guys, that sound's gonna go away in a second. I just moved. You guys will be able to tell when I zoom out. So I'm trying to get my setup, and the air circulation is different in here. So that buzzing that you're hearing is the heat. The only difference between a drugstore brow pencil to me and a high-end brow pencil that really stands out is the fact that I found with most drugstore eyebrow pencils, they're either really pigmented or they're really creamy. So they're not both pigmented and creamy most of the time. Now, I would say that this one is pigmented and creamy versus a lot more high-end brow pencils. You'll find that they have a good balance of pigmentation and blendability. I went ahead and quickly filled in my brows and carved them out, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what I use. These have been 2 of my current favorite brow products. This first one is newer to my collection. This is the Beauty Creations Eyebrow Define Gel. This is in the color Ebony. Guys, this is so super creamy and pigmented, and it's less than $5. This is actually an old favorite that I was able to pull for my Shop My Stash this month. This is the Too Faced Peach Concealer Matte Instant Coverage Concealer in the color Nutmeg. I just used this to carve out the bottom of my brows. This is very, very comparable to the Nars Soft Matte Complete Concealer in my opinion. So creamy, such high coverage. And then I'll carve the top of my brows out with the foundation I'm using. The eye primer that I'm using does not have pigment to it. So when that happens, I just like to take whatever extra concealer is on my brush and just lightly go over my eyelid. Nothing serious, just to give a little bit more of a correction to the eyelids. Very impressed with this eyebrow pencil. Definitely one of my favorites from the drugstore that I've tried. I love the fact that it has a good amount of pigmentation and blendability. Now it is time for eyeshadow primer, and I'm so excited to try this for you guys. This is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Eye Primer. I think that I bought this the same day that it came out. The Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer is one of my favorites of all time. It gives such a nice longevity to the makeup while also hydrating the skin and not feeling super cakey and stuff. I'm hoping that my eyeshadow does not move with this, but while I was thinking about it the other day, I was like, you know what? This probably is gonna make it hard to blend out eyeshadows just because it's gonna give such a tacky base, which honestly, like, that's more of a preference thing. I don't mind blending out eyeshadow more if I know that it's gonna stick longer, and that's why it's really important that you have eyeshadows that are nice and blendable and creamy, especially when you prefer a sticky base. Some days I will like a more correcting base, so I'll use something that has more correcting purposes and has more high coverage and not so much of a sticky property to it, if that makes sense. It's not feeling heavy on the eyes or anything so far. It is giving a little gloss to the eyelid, so I'm just gonna go ahead and blend this out with a brush. I am super excited to try this eyeshadow palette for you guys. This has been sitting in my collection for so long, and I have been trying my hardest to pump these videos out. Tartelette Full Bloom eyeshadow palette, and this is what it looks like. Just truly an awesome everyday pinky nude type of eyeshadow palette. The reason that I was so excited when this came out is because Tarte probably has one of my favorite high-end eyeshadow formulas. The colors are super buttery, very blendable. The glitters and shimmers are magnificent. First impressions, just looking at the palette, I will say that I feel like some of these colors definitely could be taken out and replaced with other colors because they're very similar. Looks like we have some shimmers and then some more like pressed glitter type of colors. I'm just gonna take a medium fluffy crease brush. I'm going to take the colors Independent and Gorgeous, these two right here, and I'm just going to lightly fluff those into my crease. And just doing a more circular motion, just so it looks really smoked out and pretty. And honestly, considering the fact that I have a super sticky base, which, hold on, I'm a bit confused. I'm glad that I just did that because I checked to see if my eyelid had a sticky type of feel, and it really doesn't. So I just put on a little bit more, and I'm gonna blend it out with my finger. It honestly feels like lip gloss. I was expecting it to be the consistency of the Hydro Grip Primer to have like a really sticky base. I mean, it's a little sticky, but it's not like super tacky like I thought it would be. I honestly feel like I really could have gone without. The shadows are blending out very nicely. Deepen up right in my crease. I'm going to take this color Garden, and I'm not gonna blow it out the same way I did with the first two colors. I really just want to concentrate it in my crease. I will say with most Tarte eyeshadows that I've tried, you are gonna get a good amount of kickback in the pan. I really like to place that color first. I am going to take a clean blending brush and just to diffuse out that color and not make it look so harsh, the edges, just going over it. You want to use the natural contours and shadows in your face to create depth. With the same brush or a different brush, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to take this color Grow right here, and I'm going to place that in my outer. Look at how pigmented that is. Blending the edges of that out. Make sure that you blend out the inside as well. That is going to help create a really nice natural gradient from your lid color to the outer V color. And just again, blending out the edges of that. I almost kind of want to take this really pretty pink color and put it on the upper part of my crease. We're gonna try it. I really am trying to like bring this color up into my eyebrow so it looks like a natural gradient. I'm gonna do like pink and then gold. I'm just gonna take my finger on this eye and I'm gonna go in with this color right here, Cherry Blossom. Oh my gosh. It really doesn't even look super pink either. It kind of almost looks more silverish. What do you guys think? Just so you guys can see what it looks like with a brush and spray it. Honestly, the only time I ever really use a brush when I'm doing my lid color is if I'm doing a halo eye, just because it honestly takes longer. It's 20 times faster. I'm gonna take this gorgeous gold glittery color right here called Sunflower, and I'm gonna do the same thing that I did on the other eye and just placing it on the inside. Oh wow, I feel like it's not as gold as it is over here. I'm gonna use my finger. That's weird. Do you guys see it's not as like gold? There we go. I'm gonna take a clean blending brush and just blend my crease color and the glitter together, and then also I really like to sweep the glitter color into my crease color. That way it all just kind of naturally gradiates and nothing looks harsh. I feel like I definitely had more fallout with the shimmery shades than I did the matte ones. I will go back in with this palette at the end to do my inner corner highlight. But I also wanted to say, aside from the look of the packaging, it does feel very nice. It's not super heavy, but it definitely feels sturdy. It doesn't feel like it's gonna break if I drop it. And the mirror is also super huge. 10 out of 10. If you guys have never tried Tarte's eyeshadow formula, I seriously would recommend it. I love the fact that they have bigger palettes like this, and then they also have like 12 pan eyeshadow palettes that are super practical. Now you guys can probably tell that I am in a different setting. I still need to put my pictures up on this wall, but I do have my photo collage up, so I was like, I can't film until I get my pink photo collage up. Now it is time for my favorite part of makeup, which is complexion, and I have everything brand new for complexion. If you guys have watched my videos before, you would know that I always go in with 2 primers. I like to use a hydrating primer first, and then I also like to use a pore filling / mattifying primer. Today for our hydrating primer, this is brand new from NYX. NYX Plump Right Back with Electrolytes Plumping Primer Serum. This claims to leave the skin feeling and looking instantly plump. It's supposed to be a serum and a primer, so like a skincare / makeup hybrid type of product. Ooh, and let me tell you guys, I love hydrating primers that are like this jelly consistency. Oh, it smells good. I wasn't sure if it was gonna be like more of a Milk Makeup Hydro Grip type of feel, but this is definitely more of a Huda Beauty hydrating jelly primer. NYX actually makes a jelly primer that comes in a little jar, and this is very similar to that. The only thing is, I feel like this one is a little bit more tacky. It doesn't feel sticky. To me, there's a difference between sticky and tacky. Tacky is gonna help, you know, it just, your skin kind of, it gives your skin a little plumpness and acts like glue for your makeup. And then sticky is just when you feel like you just rubbed sugar all over your face. That's so funny. Look, it kind of laid my edges down. This may be a dupe for the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. I don't want to speak too soon because that's one of my favorites. And the reason that it's one of my favorites in that I like dupes but always go back to the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip is because yes, there are dupes that give you a tacky base, but I genuinely feel like the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip is actually hydrating, and I'm getting that feeling with this as well. I don't feel like it left my skin feeling oily or super heavy. I can definitely tell it's like a little bit tighter. Sorry y'all, I jumped the gun. I forgot that I had to do eyeliner, so I went ahead and popped on some of these e.l.f. Line and Define eye tapes, and we're gonna do eyeliner and then we can jump back into complexion. Today we do have a drugstore eyeliner. This is the Essence 24-Hour Ever Ink Liner, and this is in the color Intense Black. Now this is a pen and it looks like it has a felt tip. I am somebody that prefers a pen component because I have lash extensions, so I found that when I use the wand, it just goops up on my lashes and is so messy. And this actually looks like it is a felt tip, which I usually prefer brush tips, but I will give anything a chance. Definitely very black. Do you guys see that? Wow. I feel like the true test on how black a liner is to see how well it goes over top of glitter. And this is working really well. Okay, so I'm actually really impressed with this liner because I found that sometimes with felt tips, they're not super malleable and they're really hard to move and they can be really stiff, making it hard to just go with the shape of your eye. But this is actually very, very flexible. I don't want to say flimsy because it is sturdy enough to where it's not like going all over the place, but it is just gliding onto the eye so smoothly. It feels like a cushion. I do not take my wing in all the way because my eyes are hooded. So I found that if I start my wing right where my pupil is and go thin to a little bit thicker, it helps elongate the shape of my eye. If I bring the liner in all the way, it almost closes my eyes off. Also, if you see me going like this, it's not because the liner is not pigmented, it's because I have lots of folds and my eyes are hooded, so I want to make sure that all the skin gets coated on both sides. So this is what they're looking like. That was super easy to use. I want to go ahead and swatch this for you guys so you can see, like, this is super black. One of the blackest blacks that I've ever seen. If you use any type of tape or anything for your liner, let your liner sit and dry first, because if you don't, it'll bleed and then you won't have that nice crisp line that you wanted. I'm very impressed with this. Like, I didn't ever think that I would find anything that I like more than the Maybelline Hyper Easy. I don't know, she's up there. shorter than what I usually do. Now we can go back to the face. So we just left off with this NYX Plump Back Primer. I actually like to let my primers that claim to be a little bit more tacky sit for a couple seconds, sit for like 30 seconds to a minute to really tack up. That way your makeup can grip onto them. This is not a super new product, but it's new to me. Makeup Revolution Pore Blur Primer. I'm curious to see if it's gonna do any mattifying. And I'm also curious to see if it is silicone based, because personally, I like silicone based primers more for the purpose of pore filling. I just feel like nothing does a better job that I have tried. I'll go ahead. Oh yeah, that's silicone based. Oh wow, I want to zoom you guys in, that way you can see how good of a job that just did at blurring. Also taking away my shine. I know a lot of people don't like silicone primers because they can tend to feel, some people think they can tend to feel heavy, but this does not feel heavy at all. This is very similar, first impression, to the Haley's Beauty Primer that I love, and to the Benefit Professional. I might as well just title this video like a dupes video. I really want you guys to see the magic that this is gonna work on my forehead. And I think too, with silicone primers, it's all in how much you use. I only put my mattifying / pore filling primer on my forehead and in my T-zone. I don't put it on my cheeks because my cheeks are pretty normal. So if you're using more product than what you need, then yes, your makeup's going to look cakey. That completely transformed my forehead. If you're somebody that likes silicone-based primers, I think that you would really enjoy this. Now, if you don't like silicone-based primers, I don't think you're gonna like this. Let me know if you guys have oily / combo skin. Do you guys like using silicone-based primers, or are they not your vibe? Our foundation today is high-end, and I am so excited to try this foundation. Newest addition to the Nars family. This is the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation, and I got this in the color MACAO Medium Deep 4. I have tried the Nars Naturally Radiant, and I have tried the Nars Soft Matte Complete Foundation. They are two of my favorites. They are so worth the money. And I also love how elegant Nars packaging is. It comes with the pump. I always drag my foundation down my neck, but this part of my neck right here, if you guys can see, it's like super dark than the rest of my neck is. So no matter what foundation I use, it always looks like my color match is bad because of what my neck looks like. So I'm just taking a second to put a little bit of this on my neck. This is a new makeup sponge that I'm trying. This is the SONIA KASHUK Latex Free Makeup Blender. And I honestly bought it because look at how gorgeous this is. Like, it's like a marbled and it gets pretty big. When we test new foundations on this channel, we always do half brush, half sponge. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the sponge side first. This is super liquidy. Very, very skin-like. Medium coverage, not using a whole bunch. I'm not going to build this up today only because I'm using a powder foundation that is gonna help us achieve, hopefully, full coverage. If I were using a translucent powder, then I would go ahead and try to build it up for you guys. And what I love too about Nars foundations is that I know people that have completely different skin types than me and still love the Nars foundation. So I feel like they're very inclusive in that way. I'm gonna do the brush side. And the color isn't perfect, but the powder foundation that I'm using is pretty light. Sponge side feels a little bit lighter than the brush side. I feel like it also looks a little bit more skin-like. I just feel like I need to go over the brush side with the sponge side just based on the way that it feels. I take the foundation that I'm using and I carve my brows out using that. So I'm gonna carve the top of my brows out. While I was carving out my brows, I did notice that the foundation did dry down a little bit. I'm just gonna be completely 100% honest with you guys. I really cannot tell a huge difference between this and the Nars Naturally Radiant foundation. The only really big difference to me, first impression, I feel like this has a little bit more of a lighter coverage than the Nars Naturally Radiant does. It looks like my skin. It's not matte, but it's also not natural. First impression, so I may take this back in a month or two, but if you already have the Nars Naturally Radiant, I really don't feel like you need this, only because if you're looking for something with lighter coverage, then just don't use as much product. I don't know if this can be built up, but initially I feel like you get a little bit more coverage with the Nars Naturally Radiant. When I tell y'all I am excited to try this concealer. If you are on the makeup side of TikTok, you have already seen this and know the packaging. This is the KVD Good Apple Full Coverage Concealer, Tan 173. The Good Apple foundation is one of my favorite foundations for photographing. It does not have good longevity whatsoever. So I'm really interested to see how this wears, but the coverage on the foundation is awesome. So I'm hoping to get the same thing out of this concealer. Wow, okay, that's super creamy first impression. Also, this has a little bit of a different applicator. It's a dofa applicator, but it's slanted, if you guys can see that. That's really interesting. And I feel like that color is actually perfect. So I'm gonna do one eye with a brush and one eye with a sponge. Oh, wow, okay. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that that is full coverage. It's blending out super, super easily. And you know what I love about this is that it is super lightweight. With the Good Apple foundation, if you guys have ever tried it, it can definitely very easily become cakey if you use too much. But I feel like I used a good amount of that concealer. That is beautiful. Look at how that looks underneath the eye. That is my perfect, it doesn't look super cakey, but it got rid of all of my under eye baggage, like before, after. It just looks so skin-like. It's not hanging onto my fine lines weird at all. I feel like one thing that I find with more full coverage concealers is that they are a little bit more thicker feeling underneath the eyes, which I honestly don't mind because I know that I'm getting full coverage. But this is definitely the most lightweight full coverage concealer that I've used, which is actually shocking because I was expecting it to be a little bit thick feeling only because of what the foundation feels like. It was hard with how big this sponge was to get really up in my eye, so I was just blending that out a little bit. Because I'm extra, I am gonna go on top of it with something a little bit lighter just to give me a little bit more brightness. I felt like the shade number 173 was an awesome concealing shade for me. I usually do go in with two different concealers, one just to conceal all of my dark circles. Then I go on top of that concealer with something a little bit lighter just to give me a little bit more brightness, especially right in here. Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue concealer in the color number 22, just right in here. Now we are ready to set underneath the eyes, and we do have a new Drugstore loose setting powder. My Ulta just recently added a whole bunch of new Colourpop products that are new to my store. So one of those was this Colourpop No Filter Setting Loose Setting Powder, and this is in the color Caramel. I thought that this would be perfect for underneath the eyes to set and also give a little bit of brightness. Flawless concealer brush, because I do have a lot of little fine lines underneath my eyes, so I just like to look up, brush the product away because it's not the product's fault. Ooh. Do you guys see how that filtered but also just slightly gave a little bit of coverage and brightness? This is the before and that's the after. I'm starting to find a lot of drugstore powders that I'm really enjoying. I will use a translucent powder underneath my eyes, but 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna use something that has a little bit of a brightening property, not necessarily a concealing property, but just something that is going to really waken up my eyes. It's not hanging on weird at all. And it's also not super matte. It doesn't feel super drying or anything like that. That is gorgeous. This product is brand spanking new, like just hit the market. Colourpop Pretty Fresh Pressed Powder Foundation, and I got the color medium 12. Don't judge me because I picked this color on FaceTime. My mom was in the store and I was like, Mom, see if they have this powder. Like, it literally just came out. So I did my best, but I think it's gonna work out. If you guys have not seen my last testing foundations video, I would definitely recommend checking it out because I tried the Colourpop Pretty Fresh foundation for the first time. And oh my goodness, it is so beautiful on the skin. It's a natural finish foundation, but it just is so smoothing and beautiful. And I can definitely tell that this is giving coverage because it is giving me the exact color that I wanted for my face. I also do have the concealer from this line that is in my box of makeup to try. I have another Colourpop product. I actually prefer cream bronzer over powder because I feel like cream is a little bit easier to work with. It's a little bit easier to make look really super pretty and diffused, but we're gonna go for it. My face feels so lightweight. I feel like I have a good amount of makeup on and it feels like I have nothing on my face. This is the Colourpop Such a Rush Cheek Palette. So it comes with a highlighter, and these are supposed to be blushes, and then this is a bronzer. I feel like honestly all of these are bronzers. Mix all 3 of these. When I do powder, I found that it's a little bit easier as of recently to place it where I want it instead of just like going in with a brush, and I'm not that confident. So I just like to place it first where I'd like it, building it up slowly. I will go in with a brush. This is definitely a little bit more red undertoned, and I honestly usually don't love red undertone blush bronzer on me. But this would be a really pretty eyeshadow palette as well. I could definitely see myself creating a look with this. The formula is really not bad. I'm just not crazy about the color. I like something that is just more chocolatey and neutral. And I know that bronzer is supposed to like warm up your face, but I don't like that red desert brown. I have been so back and forth on trying this blush because I didn't know how I was gonna like it. I didn't know if it was gonna be too light. We're just gonna go for it. Milani Baked Powder Blush in the color Dulce Pink. If you guys can't tell, it does have a little bit of a sheen to it, which I don't mind in blush. I do not like sheen in my bronzer. This color is so beautiful. So I'm hoping that I like it on my skin. Well, I'm not hating it. I'm really not, but I feel like this is more of a highlighter. Like this is definitely very, very shimmery, which again, I don't mind. And I think I don't mind my blush being shimmery only because it's right next to my highlighter. Pretty, it's not super pink. I don't think it looks like blush. So weird though, because it's super finely milled, so it's not like super glittery or chunky, glowy. I surprisingly like this. Okay, well, I was gonna go in with this highlighter, but I don't think that I need any more. That's really pretty. I'm just gonna go ahead and use this as my highlighter and put it on my nose. This is a gorgeous highlighter. So this is something that usually I don't ever double my blush and my highlighter. If anything, I'll double my, like do a 2-in-1 of a blush and a bronzer. But this is something that adds a little bit of pink to the cheeks. The skin is giving. To melt everything together, not like it needs it, I'm gonna be using this NYX Plump Finish Spray. Ooh, okay. Usually I will use a setting spray to either mattify or to melt my creams and my powders together, but I really feel like my creams and powders were very well morphed together before using the setting spray. The spritzer is a little bit harsh. I like a more fine mist. I'm gonna go back in with our eyeshadow palette, Freesia. I hope that's how you pronounce it. And I'm just gonna pop that in my inner corner. I can't stop looking at my cheeks. Like I'm not used to this part of my cheek being glowy. I'm used to kind of just my cheekbone, but it looks so pretty when my face hits the light. It doesn't look like super highlighted. It just looks glowy. First impressions, I feel like the setting spray was okay. I do prefer the NYX Bare With Me setting spray. I feel like that just does a really good job of melting everything together. I don't feel like this did much for me, and I may not be able to tell because I feel like my makeup is already really melted together as it is. We're gonna finish up the eyes, and I do have two new eye pencils, Colourpop Cream Gel Liner, SUNNYVALE and HONEYDUDE, a dark brown and then a more cream color. I do wanna go ahead and swatch these for you guys. I've heard that these are super, super creamy. I think I'm gonna use HONEYDUDE today because I feel like I always do a dark chocolate brown for you guys, so I wanna go ahead and do something a little different. Glide it on super easily. I don't know, guys. I think I should have just tight lined it. I kind of smoked it out a little bit, and I'm gonna try to tight line it over here to see if that makes a difference. That eye definitely looks better than this eye. I love the fact that these are a roll up, they're not a pencil. This is a lot of Colourpop in today's video. I didn't even realize that. Also bought this product twice, Colourpop Brow Gel, and I have the color Soft Black. I'm really not super picky about brow gel. Honestly, I'm more picky about the applicator than I am the actual product. I like a smaller applicator because my brows are a little bit more sparse. This has a little bit of a unique formula because every other formula that I've tried so far has more of like a glossy finish versus this does not have a glossy finish. I do not have any new lip products and I do not have a new mascara. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish the rest of my face, and then we will be back. All right, guys, so I went ahead and quickly finished the eyes and the lips, and I just wanted to show you guys what I used. On my bottom lashes, I used the Milk Makeup Kush Mascara. This is the waterproof version. For my lip liner, I used the Alamar Cosmetics Des Las Nudas lip liner in the color Coqueta. Center shade, I used the Dose of Colors Liquid Matte Lipstick, and I used the color Heartbreaker. I am absolutely in love with the way that my skin looks. I think it would honestly be easier to go over the products that I think were okay. Nothing in this video was bad. I was actually in love with pretty much everything. So if I don't mention it, that means that I really, really liked it and I was really impressed. The only three things that I thought were moderate, okay, like an 8 out of 10, were the NYX setting spray. I would prefer the NYX Bear With Me or even the NYX Matte Finish one over this one. I'll probably use this one as a primer water. Hydro Grip Eye Primer did not come to play like I thought it would. I thought it was gonna leave like a really nice tacky sticky base, and it really didn't do anything for me. It honestly felt like lip gloss. I'm hesitant to say if this was okay because my skin looks so beautiful. I was gonna say that this was okay, but I'm actually gonna say that I really, really like this. But I feel like it's not much different than the Nars Naturally Radiant. So I'm really stuck. I am amazed. This is definitely one of my favorite looks that I have ever done. This is what the finished product looks like. Please let me know down in the comments if you guys plan on trying any of the products in this video, or if you have and what your thoughts were. I'm super curious. Really nice way to break in the new beauty space in this apartment. I also wanted to mention that I was MIA for a little bit, as I mentioned before, because I was moving and there was just no possible way for me to even have room to film. The apartment that I'm in now is a little bit smaller, so I kind of had to take some time to declutter the space and get it organized before I would be okay to film. So I do want to apologize for being gone for a little bit, but yeah, that's the reason. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in a few days. Bye.